Hello, and welcome to How to Play D&D, the Explainer podcast with one experienced Dungeon Master and one failed scriptwriter to discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is Lewis McCaffery. Hello, Lewis.
Hello, I'm so proud of you.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
I'll do the jazz hands maybe next time, who knows.
I mean, smashing them out. Easy.
Yes,
I like it.
Thank you. This is one of our last episodes for this season. We've got one more to come next week, which we're very excited about.
Yeah.
We won't reveal, but I'm sure you'll guess it from looking at our other episodes or finales. This episode summarises our season 3 of classes and building a character, really, doesn't it? Well,
I'd say so.
Gone through the classes, we've even gone through senses, relationships last week, and backstory collaboration maybe this week.
Maybe.
Yeah. Is that the topic? I think it is. Let's get to it. Okay, so today's episode is on backstory collaboration. We've all struggled at some point when creating a backstory for our characters. Maybe it's just finding that final piece of the puzzle, and sometimes it comes naturally when another player is looking to share a part of theirs with you.
That sounded so wholesome.
I was prepping it so everyone would think I'm gonna mock something, and then I was just sweet.
I'm not used to it. I can feel my asshole clenching when waiting.
I can feel it as well. You'll only know what that is if you watch the video. Collaboration can really make things juicy.
Oh, there we
go. Yeah. Right, Lewis, I've been hired to rob a bank. I would have said no, and I'm pretty scared to go through with it, but my girlfriend said it would be good for me to communicate better and to say yes to more things. What am I doing?
Oh, you know what? I respect that. Fair enough, sir.
Real recognise real.
Exactly. I think what you're doing is you're basically becoming that chappy robot.
Right, yeah.
Where you don't know what's going on, you just go with the flow, and then you end up 6 months later in prison dropping the soap for killing 12 men. That's what you're doing.
Sometimes you just got to do it, Sometimes you just got to drop the soap.
Exactly. You know what? I wish I had a bar of soap here. Please demonstrate for us.
Right.
Oh, God.
Okay. Have you ever collaborated when creating a backstory?
Yes. I think so. Not properly in terms of like a fully my character. Just in the server we ran, obviously I created a character. I created Geralt from The Witcher and kind of collaborated with another player to make Jaskier to just do their little thing there.
Yeah.
But in terms of my own personal, completely fresh character that I've made, I haven't personally.
Okay.
I've seen other people do it. I've DM'd for people that do it.
Yeah.
And it's great to see. And I would love to do that with another character. But not personally. Have you?
I've not. I mean, I've only played maybe 3 characters. They just don't die. What can I say? I can't be killed.
I'm pretty sure there is an episode where you said if you've only played one character for your entire time, then you're shit or something like that.
Oh, no, it's because I can't be killed, bro. They tried it. I even beat Tiamat.
No, that's right.
Anyway, I'm not going to let this. I did die. No, I have not. But once again, in the server, seen people collaborate together for backstories, even like homebrewing characters, as in races and things. We've seen that. But I think it will be, looking at the question, I think it will be quite cool because instantly, I mean, running the campaign I'm running, everyone instantly has their own kind of secrets. And I think even the campaign that you're prepping, you've also got people having secrets. And I think we all just instantly go, we either don't think about a backstory, some DMs are fine, that's that, or they want to have something for the player that the other players don't know about. And they're off. That's our first direction to go with. So I think sometimes actually knowing stuff could be a nice little kind of left field option.
Yeah, I think it's good, especially for new players. Let's say if you're joining a new table in terms of the actual collaboration part, and you're joining with a friend, then I think there's nothing wrong, and often it can be very helpful if you work with the friend that you're playing with, if you both new, have a backstory where your siblings, friends, whatever it is, where it intertwines with each other.
Keeping it simple to start with.
Exactly, yeah, and it just helps you bounce off another player. Like, I know in the past, I think I ran a short campaign for a group of new players. All of them were nervous about the backstory. They didn't know exactly what to write. So I said, put them in pairs of like who I knew would get on the most kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I said, when you're creating your character, I'll do it with you, but do it together. And then to the actual start of the campaign, they arrived in pairs.
Okay.
And got there, and then they just kind of found each other, introduced themselves, and went on there, and they kind of stuck with their one person for a while until they were ready to gel as a group.
Well, that answers one of my later questions, which is, should the DM get involved on character backstory, and if yes, how? So that's that one.
Yeah.
Oops. What's my opinion on that before we go back to other questions? Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. I've not thought about it as in... the players collaborating. I thought about it for that question as,
the DM
are you struggling with your backstory? You asked me a couple of questions. How can I help you? I mean, I'm definitely going to be conscious of the fact that I don't want to give you so much that it's mine, not yours.
Exactly.
And I also don't want it to feel like it's subconsciously favoritism in the sense that I'm building this campaign for you. Which wasn't my plan, and then other players go, well, hang on, I'm not that aligned to this.
Exactly,
So I think that would be I'd be wary, but I think it's easy to give people some pointers.
Oh yeah, I think that's the thing, because in that group I did, they all players knew I was doing that. As long as your party is aware, or your players are aware of what you're doing, why you're doing it, you're not just doing it for the sake of, this is my story I want to tell. You're doing it to give your players, or make sure your players get the most out of it. That's when, by all means, I don't see a problem.
Okay, well, how can it make things more fun for the players?
I think, like I said, one, you have someone to bounce off of straight away.
Yeah.
But two, let's say if you do have a secret and only that one person knows, it'll make the roleplay, not only between you two, but you two and the rest of the group, far more interesting. There's a lot more to risk if you're going into battle, especially if it's with a sibling and they get injured. You're going to be far more stressed than if another party member
there could be some serious character development going on there.
Exactly. And especially if you two, like, let's say, again, sticking with the siblings thing, if you two end up like having a disagreement in the campaign, again, there's just so many opportunities for roleplay by doing that. You can get that without it, obviously. It's not like you're restricted if you don't collaborate your backstory with someone. But it opens up a lot of niche things that you can actually explore, which you might not be able to otherwise.
No, that's fair. Are there downsides to collaborating on backstories?
I'd say yes, but I wouldn't necessarily call them downsides.
Okay.
I just think if you want a backstory that is completely unique to you, which is fair enough, like, there's nothing wrong with wanting that, then I suppose that is a bit different. Obviously, even if you collaborate, they'll be different. You'll have your own stories. But sometimes you want those moments where it's about your character, which is fine. Like,
you're still playing only you.
Yeah, every character or every campaign should have moments that are specifically for one character. And obviously, as long as that is shared between them all, and like you said, not just for one person. So it can kind of restrict that if you do collaborate to some extent. Again, siblings, if it happens to one, it likely affects the other. So you don't have as many unique moments. But again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just, if you want that, you might not get it as much.
Yeah, I think off the bat of that, I think if people are really connected because of their backstory, and you do get players who can be overwhelmed by this fictional world, which we've actually seen in sessions where people just left out of like the stress of it. Then say we're siblings and I'm one of those people who are very emotionally attached to it, your character dies. That is definitely on the table that I could possibly just not want to play anymore.
Especially not with that character.
Yeah, and I think that would be the downside that I can think of. It wouldn't. I couldn't imagine. I wouldn't want a player like that, to be honest. If I'm honest, I wouldn't want to play like that. But also, because they're letting everyone down, and they're letting the DM down. And there's kind of like this bond. There's this mutual trust that, everything goes through the DM at the end of the day. Like your character shouldn't be secret to the DM, and so nor should the backstory or the collaborative backstory. No. So if the DMs agree to that, and then as soon as it doesn't go your way, you back out or have a strop. You have a big tantrum.
Which, like you said, we've seen.
We have seen that, and so I feel like you've kind of betrayed everyone.
Yeah, I think that's the same with. To be honest, I think that's the same with any topic in D&D. That in D&D, you play it knowing that your character could die. You could spend over years building your character, growing more connected to them, and then they die, and that's it. Yeah. And then it's on to the next one, and that is genuinely can be a really upsetting thing, especially if you're into it. But that's the same with anything. If you're going to just drop out and leave everything as soon as your character dies, I get it if you need a break from D&D, especially if it's like a 2-year campaign. But to just leave everyone high and dry is a bit.
You're not letting. You might be upset, but you're actually letting everyone down, which is arguably, if you're the kind of person who gets easily upset, you're probably going to be more upset in the long run that you've let everyone down. Yeah. Okay then. What can the DM do to ensure the players get the most out of that collaboration in the game? This is the last question. Okay.
I think there are probably a number of things you can do. One, like I said, with the unique thing, make sure that that backstory, you're not treating it as one. You are treating it as two people that share things.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
Again, just for the sake of the example, stick with siblings. Let's say it's brother and sister. One is terrified of, letting the other down, and the other is terrified of the other getting injured. Yeah. Let's say something like that. It's all well and good to keep having things about their shared family backstory, but make sure you introduce elements where that one gets injured, or this one or the other one is getting annoyed. You're not doing enough. One player isn't, or something. Just ways to hone or zone in on one specific character's flaws and things like that. Make sure they feel like individuals and not a pair. I think that's probably the number one for me.
And I think another thing is a bit more out the box is, say we're looking at those twins and we're trying to make sure that they, in our story, naturally they get moments to challenge that, both of them. But also, how can you bring in the rest of the party who aren't a part of that to make it feel like actually without them, these two couldn't be having their moment. And so, it's the moment, it's Aragorn's moment as much as it is Frodo's.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's everyone's in the Fellowship's moment because they've all played their part. And I think that's really important in nearly everything you're doing.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's one of those things. I think if you're treating each character, it's weird. Treat everyone individually, but also as a collective group of everyone. I wouldn't say you two are this, you three are this. It's either individual or the group. I feel for me anyway, that's a good way to look at it, because you want the group to gel as much as possible, but at the same time you want each character to feel like their character, because at the end of the day, if you've got a player, especially one that's new or learning how to roleplay or get into their character, and they're trying their hardest to envision themselves as this paladin or this druid or whatever it is, but then you're just kind of brushing over their attempts to do that and you're lumping them in with someone else, they won't feel like their character. They'll just feel like they're playing a shared game kind of thing. Never want to do. You want everyone to feel special at the table.
Definitely. Okay, nice one. All right, well, today's adventure is sadly coming to a close. We're back again next week with a topic. The price of ham in the UK is going up this week, but the price of pig hasn't changed in 3 months. Should I be buying in bulk?
You should. And speaking of ham, I have a very upsetting story, but I'll tell you that after. No one else gets to know it.
Okay. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like to join in on the D&D action, then please follow us on Instagram and TikTok at How to Play D&D. We've got some funny bits on there, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Some bowling stuff.
Oh, yes, some bowling
fancy
stuff.
Dress at bowling.
Literally.
Fancy dress without bowling. We've got it all.
Bowling without any dress.
Check out the link in our bio, join our Discord server, and for BTS of sessions, bloopers, blogs, early access to episodes, and even live Q&As, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/howtoplayd&D. And I think by this point, we actually might be running beginner sessions for Fanboy Free at our local store. We hope. We don't know. Because we're recording this in November, and this will come out in around January. Nice, by then, hope everyone, including us, have got our stuff together, and we'll be running sessions in person for people if you want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and what that means is you're currently looking into the past. So if we're both dead in January, enjoy this.
The price of ham has not gone up for you, sir. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Liz McCaffery.
Good day.
Goodbye.